What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over the best healer builds for the arena. Before we go ahead and get into the video, I wanted to announce the winners of the giveaway. And yes, you heard me right, I said winners, so there are multiple of them. Because Sunio sponsored this giveaway, I went ahead and bought another Spectral Bat, so there's going to be 2 winners of this giveaway. And yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoy this. I'll be doing another giveaway at 500 subs, but let's go ahead and announce the winners. They are Young KB and Missouri. Congratulations, you two. Go ahead and check your Albion online mailbox, and we can discuss a time when to meet so you could get your mounts, but once again, congrats. If you're curious on how the winner is chosen, it's done in a completely random process, which I explain in my first giveaway. So go ahead and look for that video if you are curious on how it's done, but it's pretty simple. Also, one announcement is that I am opening my Albion Online Guild to all subscribers. It's mainly going to be focused on HCEs, but since the nerf is coming, we'll see how that is going to play out. I had a whole bunch of plans for it, but I am not going to 100% say that that's what the guild is going to be used for right now. So we're going to go ahead and wait it out on that. But if you're interested in joining the guild, it's just going to be a general purpose at the moment. Go ahead and drop your Albion Online in-game name down below, and I can go ahead and add you as a friend and invite you to the guild. Alright, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So yeah, as you guys have seen, I've done some arena healing in the past in a couple of my videos, and I've actually had a couple people compliment me and ask me about the build that I use. And yeah, so I'm making a video on it so I can go ahead and explain to you guys. So yeah, this build is not really for like out in the open. It probably could be, but this is mainly for the arena. And as you can see, I have 1200 IP roughly. The scale is down to 800 IP in the arena about. And so you don't need all A3 items. I have a few just because I have those items A3 for a variety of different reasons. But you could see I also have a tier 6 staff and tier 6 chests. So you don't need a whole bunch of fancy items for the arena because everything gets scaled. But so for the first item, the helmet, we're going to need the Scholar Cowl. And basically what this does is it increases your armor by 118, at least for this specific tier. And it also increases your magical resistance, so you take less damage when you get attacked by magical attacks. And for the passive, I use aggression, which increases your damage and healing cast. Obviously, this is important for the healing cast. And I forgot to mention the ability is called Energy Shield, and this is what it looks like when you use it. Moving on to the next item, we can go ahead and see that the chest piece is the Robe of Purity. And for the ability, I use Energy Emission, which basically surrounds yourself with a bubble. And it knocks back any enemies that get in the way, as well as deals a small amount of damage to them. And you also gain immunity to movement effects, so if someone tries to root you, it does not affect you. And so basically I put on aggression as the passive as well for the chest because we want a higher healing cast. And this is what the ability looks like. So if someone comes in the radius of that circle, if you're running at them or they're running at you, they will bounce back. Moving on to the boots, I use Night Boots as you can see, and I use Shield Charge as the ability. This applies a shield on both you and your teammate if you use it on a teammate. If you use it on an enemy, it only applies the shield on you. And I use Toughness as the passive, so that way we get some defense, because if you have a bunch of people attacking you because you're the healer, you want to have some kind of defense. So this is what the ability looks like when you use it on an ally. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the staff. We're going to need the Great Holy Staff, and we're going to use Generous Heal as the first ability, Holy Beam as the second ability, and Holy Explosion as the third ability. Now the Holy Explosion ability is probably the most important and the reason why we're using this staff. Now for the second ability, you can swap the beam out for the Holy Orb if you prefer. I just like the beam a little bit better. And for the passive, we're using Adrenaline Driven Charity, which is after every forecast, it increases your healing cast by 20%, which is pretty decent, at least with this staff. But you can kind of play around with the passives. I just prefer that one. So let's go ahead and see what Holy Explosion looks like. As you can see, a circle comes around us. We're healing. Everyone in that circle will be healed unless they're an enemy. They will be pushed back, and only for the first wave do they get pushed back. Moving on to the Limher's Cave, we want this because if your energy drops below 40%, you start restoring 80% of your max energy. That is with the A3. Of course, it's going to be different for each tier, but that is super important whenever you're healing because you need that energy. It is very important to have a lot of, mana or energy. These abilities are very common, but that is what the Q ability looks like, and the W ability, which is the beam. You should have seen that by now if you've been playing this game. But so you want to use an energy potion for the potion that you can use, as well as a pork omelet for the cooldown on your abilities. It's very effective. So to play this build, you could use it as kind of an aggressive build or also a very defensive one at the same time, because as you can see, when I start off a lot of my games, I like to be very defensive and just kind of like heal out all the damage that the enemies are doing right off the bat, because that's usually when people will use their big abilities for high damage. And once you survive that, then you can kind of get a little bit more aggressive. But all I use is my Q and W for the beginning. But then, as you can see, my team started to take a decent amount of damage as they clumped up. So I used the boots and then used my E ability. So I'm going to go ahead and provide examples of what you can do and the different capabilities that you can use the different items in the build for. So if all the DPSs are focusing on you, go ahead and use the boots to get out of any sticky situations and heal yourself while you have that shield, because you will have a lot of extra damage. And as you can see, I use the energy shield right after using the boots because it is very good to use that when people are targeting you. So if you're gonna die, use the boots and you will be saved, and then use the energy shield right after, or use the energy shield first and then use the boots as a last resort. But that's kind of what these two items will be mainly used for. Another good combo you can do is use your boots on an ally who's about to die to give them that extra health, and then use your E, which is the Holy Explosion, which starts healing them and knocking back any enemies. So you basically just create a really safe area for them and keep them alive if they're very close to dying. So a lot of times I'll see people use the Holy Explosion on a single person or just like someone who's near them, which is okay if you're doing really good, but as you could see, my teammates started to lose a lot of health. The other team got really confident, so they start pushing up. That is the perfect time to use the Holy Explosion because it starts healing your teammates and pushes back any of the melee, as well as interrupts any of the ranged people who are fairly close. And as you can see, it gave my team kind of like a little bit of time to regroup and get back together. And as you can see, we just start annihilating the other team. A really good time to use your chest ability is, say one of your teammates is getting ganked up on by the whole enemy team. As you can see, just like that guy was, I use my displacement ability and quickly just separate the whole enemy team. I push the healer down at the bottom and then keep the 3 DPSs distracted while we quickly take out the healer, and now the enemies do not have a healer. So you're going to want to use this ability when you're trying to save a teammate, or if you're trying to separate the enemy team. It is very effective at dividing the enemy team up into pieces and targeting them individually. But as you can see, we're trying to capture the capture point, and I am able to distract these guys long enough for our team to capture it, and now we just got an extra 10 points because I was able to keep those guys off of the capture zone. So that's another good application of using the 2 displacement abilities, actually. I'm sure by now you guys get the idea and know how to use the items, but here is a clip that kind of shows off what you can do with them. So we had 3 enemies in this middle area here and then 2 enemies in the top right. The archer was being triple teamed and I came in to kind of help them out. And the archer was able to take out one of the enemies. I am keeping them alive. And then all of a sudden I use my displacement to separate the enemy, so the archer is easily able to pick off this swordsman. And then we just have the tank kind of guy left over and another archer pulling in to take out my archer, but backup arrives and we were able to easily take the point in the top right, as well as kill 2 of the enemy teammates, so they weren't able to reinforce top right and basically contest it for a long period of time. Now for my favorite part of the video is this one guy's comment. He just randomly says, "I love you, Venge," and that was just because I think I ended up saving his life a couple times, which was pretty cool. But yeah, that basically sums up this video. I didn't really go over the food and energy potion, but it's pretty self-explanatory. If you get really low on energy, or like her staff is taking your energy away with their ability, then just use your energy potion and you are good. And the food you just eat at the beginning of the arena if you really want to go try hard in it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. It's a little bit of a switch up compared to all the HCE information and HCE stuff. I will, however, be releasing the HCE healing video as my next video. I'm roughly halfway done with it, so that will be coming out very soon, probably in the next couple days. So I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Peace.